Good morning, everybody. This is Derek Eklum over here at Foundation Software, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this week's edition of our Client Sales Webinar Series. These webinars, what we do is we walk through some additional products, some additional services that we have to offer, kind of showcase some of the main highlights so that you are aware of what we have out there available. So they are catered more towards our customers that don't currently have these. So if you do already have either of these products or the products that we're going to be covering today, just feel free to reach out to our support department. So what I'll do is go through a short presentation. Today will probably be on the shorter side compared to some of these other ones that I do. And then after that, I'll wrap this up with a question and answer session. So today's topic are additional mobile tools, I guess, outside of our main flagship mobile product, which is our mobile field log application. And those would be our eAccess portal and our service mobile application. Those are kind of the two main pieces that we're going to be taking a look at today. And I guess without further ado, let me go ahead and kind of jump into the first one, which is our eAccess portal. And our eAccess portal is very simple explanation here is it's an online portal that allows your employees to log in and retrieve all of their payroll information. So right off the bat, it eliminates check stubs. So it's highly popular with our companies that have direct deposits. They don't have to print out the stubs. They don't have to hand them out to employees or track them down, or worst case scenario, stick a stamp on there and throw it in the mailbox. They don't have to waste time or money doing that. But it's also a nice tool for any company, any employee. Even if they do receive a physical check, this can make a lot of sense just for the convenience factor. So the idea is that each employee would have their own username and password that they would be able to maintain, and then they'd be able to log in on any device. I'm on a computer, just because the screen's bigger, so I can show you what this looks like. But tablets, smartphones are also A-OK with this application. But what this does is it pulls up a main dashboard, which that would be your company name. Same thing with the description right there. You can fill out your own kind of company-wide description. But right on the main page is really the main point. You can see the paychecks. It shows the most recent pay stubs. Mine are a little bit dated, obviously. But there's also other areas of information that this will show, like gross pay, PTO balances. There's a couple reports showing time card history and earnings history. So it is a nice tool. I guess right from this screen, let me just go ahead and open up really the main reason why companies are looking to get into our eAccess portal. It pulls this up, which is essentially the stub. And we have done all kinds of research with different states as far as what is legally required to show on pay stubs. So from that standpoint, you are 100% covered there. And all these different stubs you can print or you can save as a PDF if you'd like. So that's right off the bat the main reason companies will get into eAccess. I guess other than that, kind of going down the other sections, there's pay information. So this would be historical pay stub information. If you wanted to retrieve, maybe an employee is applying for a mortgage, that's always a common one, and they need to print out the last 3 months worth of pay stubs. That's where this will come into play, where they can kind of come down through here, pull up an old pay stub, print that out, or save it as a PDF if you want to, and kind of take it from there. So historical pay information. I mentioned PTO balances, so this would read right off a foundation. So whatever you have set up as the accrual codes in your payroll module. So whether you have them as sick time balances, PTO, you call it vacation, maybe you've got a couple plans there. Whatever shows there will show here, and it shows in detail, based on, either side, whether it's the accrual side or the usage side, you'll see the ins and the outs here. And then the last piece is reports. There's a couple of reports. There's an earnings, I always call it earnings history report, but it's called earnings and deductions. But this is where you can always pick a date range and then run the report. And it basically just kind of consolidates all of your pay stub information. You can always print this as well, save it as a PDF. And then the other report is called time card history. Same thing, you get a date range. What's also nice here is you can actually isolate by job or trade. And then you can run the report, and then it shows all of the details for that employee. And again, this can always be printed or saved as a PDF as well. So that is our eAccess portal, and this updates automatically. There's absolutely no additional steps that you would need to do within Foundation. And it doesn't matter whether you have a foundation installed locally on a server at your office or if you use our SaaS or hosted service, this works all the same. So if you are interested in that product, feel free to reach out to me here. And my information, I'll say this probably a couple times at least, but my phone number is 1-800-246-0800, and my extension is 7181. Or if you'd rather shoot me an email, that's probably the best way to get in touch with me. That is dke@foundationsoft.com. So that's eAccess. The other product we wanted to kind of take a look at here this morning is our Service Mobile application. So let me kind of shift gears over to that. And Service Mobile, there we go. So the Service Mobile application, I guess like all of our mobile products, connects into your foundation database. So again, it doesn't matter whether you are installed locally or on our SaaS or hosted service, but this would integrate with your service module. So that would be the first catch. If you are interested in this, you really need to have the service dispatch module in Foundation. Otherwise, this does not work. It has nowhere to feed back into Foundation. But I guess a basic explanation of what our Service Mobile application does, think paperless work order. So instead of having to print out a paper work order, hand it to a service tech, or maybe you've got a, maybe currently you're emailing them or saving as a PDF out of the system and emailing, none of that would need to occur. This is all something that can be electronically done. And how this works, and this has changed and evolved over the last couple of years. So now the way it's currently set up is the office can still be the driver of the ship, the driver of the bus, I guess so to say, where they can create service calls and schedule them to a technician, and then the technician would see them here. What we have added recently, or at least fairly recently, is down in the corner, this little plus button. This would actually allow your technician to create their own service calls. So there is the ability now where they can create and schedule their own service calls out there. Now, either way, whether they create them or the office, somebody in the office creates them and schedules them, and you can always deactivate that feature for your field employees if you didn't want them to do that too. But what that's going to do is it's going to allow them to see the service calls they have for that day. They can always go to a different day too to see what they might have scheduled tomorrow. Yeah, maybe I'll take tomorrow off. It's Friday. Let me see if I have any calls, that type of thing. And I currently don't, so maybe I can. But what they can do is they can see the basic information on that service call there, and then they can open that up, and then it shows all the details here. And this is pretty straightforward. I mean, you can customize this, but the way that this is laid out, at least how I try to explain it to try to keep it easy, is it's kind of broken down into 4 parts. The first part is this contact and location section. It shows the site name, who you're dealing with there, where are you going, what's the phone number in case you got a call, and then there's a site info button, which is nice because it shows some default information on the left-hand side of the screen, but really where this makes a lot of sense is the right-hand side, where it would show prior times that people at your company have been out to this location. So you can kind of see what was done, what they did, who it was, that type of stuff. There's also map and directions if the service tech needs to pull those up to retrieve those. So that's the first section. Second section, a couple buttons right here, change status. So if you're using status codes in the service module, that's where they can flag those. And these are all user defined. These are just my examples, but maybe I'll just say, yep, I've arrived. And then next to that, there is a clock in. So if you wanted your service technicians to clock in and out of service calls, you can do that. Most of our companies don't, but it is an option there if you do want to do that. Yeah, the reason most of our companies don't is most of our companies, their service techs just say, I was here for 3 hours, or I was here from 10 to noon, something like that. Underneath that would be, just like it says right there, dispatch details. So who's the lead technician? Basically that's important if there's multiple service techs assigned to the same call. Type of repair, that would be, when you create the call, basically the type of service call. What type of service call is it? There's that status code. Work requested, so that would be filled out. What does the customer need done? If there's any notes or directions there. Dispatch complete, that's a big important field. It helps the office out quite a bit. So if the office needs to run a report to say, hey, what's been completed, so they know what to invoice out to customers, that can come into play there. Equipment, so that's where, installed equipment. So the service tech should be made aware of what other, maybe if there's been 20, over the years, maybe 20 items have been installed at this location for this company, but, maybe they're going out there to inspect this, or, a certain, hot water tank, or, generator, things like that. And then where the customization comes into play here with the Service mobile app is this user-defined field. So I just have one example here. I don't know if guys can read that, but it says hour reading on unit. I'll plug a number in there. But you can have as many of these as you want to. It can literally be whatever you want them to be. It can be something that's internal. It can be something that shows up on a printed work order. It could be something that shows up on a printed invoice. So it's really, really kind of a catch-all. Whatever's missing that your company needs your service technicians to fill out, that's where this comes into play. So there's user-defined fields. So that's the second section. And then the third section is really the main entry fields of the Service mobile app. There's description of repair, there's labor, and there's material. So description of repair, just what happened out there. Whatever they did. What did they do on this call? Installed this, fixed that, inspected this. So just whatever needs to be done. And these are big fields. I think 3,000 characters. So you can copy and paste. If you're on a device that supports text to talk, you can do that too. So that's description of repair. And then labor. This is where most people don't do the clock in, clock out, but they'll come into here and say, okay, I was here from we'll say 10 to 3. And then there's a description, which is optional. And then there's some optional fields, depending if you want to show these or not. Like you could show price level, you can enable billing rate, you can show cost code. These are all optional fields. So if you want to close off everything just so they can just plug in hours, you could do that. Those, I just want to kind of leave those out there just to let you know there is some customization that would be able to come into play here on the service labor area. And then the third and final part of this section is material. So this, if you have our inventory module, this is where you can pick your parts. You can do a keyword search, enter in the quantity. You can also put in what piece of equipment it was installed on. If there's a warehouse that's being pulled out of, you can enter that. So that'll push over to there. And then if you don't have inventory, or maybe it's not an inventory part, you can just start typing in the description and fill out the rest of your quantities. And this too, if you wanted to put in cost or price levels, just like the labor side of it, you can enable these for your technicians. And it doesn't have to be an all for one either. You can have different technicians can do and see different things. So there is a lot of flexibility there as well. So that would be the material section, and that would be all of the entry that occurs here in the Service mobile app. So really, description of repair, labor, material, user-defined fields is going to kind of wrap up what happens. And then we can submit, and that pushes all the information back into the service call back in Foundation. And typically the main idea is your office is going to bill out. Now we have made some other enhancements over the last year or so to the Service mobile app, where just like before I was talking about, now where the service techs can create and schedule their own calls. Nowadays they can also create service quotes through the mobile app here. They can create an invoice out of the mobile app here, and those again are all subjective. If you want your service techs to do that, they can. Or if you don't want them to, you can always disable that feature as well. So that would be the third part. Now the fourth part, just a couple buttons up in the top corner here. There's a file, and then there's a clipboard. The file would allow your service techs to attach pictures or documents. So I don't know, let me see if I have any. Oh, sure, Project HQ. We'll grab a flyer there. But yeah, it could be PDFs, it could be pictures, graphic files, and this will be a two-way street where this will show here in the Service mobile app, but it'll also save back into your Foundation database to the service call, assuming that you have the document imaging module. So you would need that feature in order for these pictures and documents to save back into your database there. So that's another nice feature. And then the last feature is a little clipboard with a pencil there. This is called the service review. So the idea behind this is, and you can customize this, of course you wouldn't have the foundation logo, you'd have your own company logo there, but you can always customize what fields show or which ones don't show. But the whole, or if you want pricing to show, like I don't have pricing on mine, but if you wanted it to show, you can always do that. But the idea is you can hand over your tablet or I guess even smartphone to your customer, and then they can review it, and then they can electronically sign off on it, and then they will receive a PDF copy of this emailed to them, and then another PDF copy of the signed service call will be saved to the service call itself. So those are all the moving parts and pieces here of our service mobile application. So just a good way, usually much more efficient than paper, about getting that information, from the field back into the office. So those are a couple of our additional mobile products, our eAccess portal that allows your employees to see their payroll information online. And then there's our service mobile application. I guess think paperless work order can really help your service department, but you need the service module in order for that to work. So those are our two additional products outside of our major product, which is our mobile field log application. So I hope you did kind of learn a little bit here this morning, and I encourage you guys, if you have any questions, now's a good time to ask, or if you think of something down the road, you can always reach out to me then too. And while you're thinking of any of those questions, you can kind of type them into that little GoToWebinar side pane. It's going to zip through just a short slideshow just on some of the other features that we have going on there. And there's my contact information again. If you are interested in either of these products, you can always reach out to me at 1-800-246-0800, or my email address is dke@foundationsoft.com. And as far as other items to touch base on, yes, we still do have our COVID link on our website that kind of brings you up to speed on what's going on in the industry related to COVID. And then current specials, we have our document imaging module that is on special this month. So that's a 10% discount there. And then Foundation Hosted, which used to be called SaaS, which I guess you can also call Cloud. That would be if you did have your database, we would store it here. I guess the advantages are you can log in anywhere there's an internet connection, so you can work on the road, on vacation, at least to check in on things. So it is really convenient. But there's also the whole IT side of it. We handle all the updates, the backups, the security. So it's more a peace of mind that way too. So feel free to reach out to us on that. Talked all about these today, at least the ones in the middle and to the right. The one that's on the left there, that's kind of the flagship one I mentioned a few times. And then Project HQ, that's our brand new all web-based project management platform. That'll be I'm sure you guys will be hearing a lot about this going into 2022. We've been trying to keep it relatively quiet. I'll bring it up during these webinars, but this is a really exciting product for us here. So it's a full-on project management suite that's available online through a tablet or even a smartphone. And then a piece of that is called Executive HQ. It's field reporting. So basically your employees that have access to job cost reporting, out in the field real time. And then Payroll for Construction, it's a sister company. We're really all in one roof. I just saw one of our salespeople just kind of walk by my office there. If you are interested in signing up with that service, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to give you a hand if you're looking to outsource payroll. And then it'll be here before you know it. Down in Florida, we've got our user conference. It's going to be next March. And then if you do need additional training help or maybe just a tune-up, on the right-hand side, we do offer consulting services. So we can give you a hand with that as well. And then lastly, we'd like to hear from you, hear your story, your foundation story, good or bad. We love all the feedback. So feel free to reach out to us on software advice and drop us a line there. And at this point, I'll kind of turn it over to you guys, see what kind of questions we do have going on here. Or it looks like there was somebody that had maybe an issue with the audio. So hopefully that worked. And if you didn't hear the webinar today, we will be emailing everybody that signed up a link to this. So you will get that probably tomorrow. And I'll hang on here just to see if anybody else has any other questions on our eAccess portal or our service mobile application. And if you, somebody's curious about pricing, if you are interested in pricing, it does vary whether you are on our hosted platform or on our on-premise where you have the foundation installed locally. If you are curious in pricing, just feel free to reach out to me, 1-800-246-0800, or you can email me, dke@foundationsoft.com. Okay, I think everybody's all set, but if you need anything at all, I guess it doesn't have to even be related to these two items down the road, just feel free to reach out. Appreciate you spending some of your morning with me, and I'll see you on the next client sales webinar. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.